When are you going to employ Zidane? Sir Jim Ratcliffe questioned as Man United make manager call. Manchester United manager latest sees owner asked key question from an unlikely source. Erik Ten Hag should stay as Manchester United manager if he wins the FA Cup with a terrible football, but Zinedine Zidane is the one man who Sir Jim Ratcliffe should have on speed dial if he doesn't. That's the view of former United forward Dwight Yorke as Ten Hag's job continues to come under the microscope after an underwhelming campaign. The Red Devils scraped into the FA Cup final on Sunday with a fortunate penalty shootout win over Coventry City at Wembley. Having led 3-0 after an hour against the Championship side, an embarrassing collapse saw Coventry draw level and take the game to extra time, before seemingly scoring a last-gasp winner only for VAR to chalk it out. United eventually progressed via spot kicks to set up a second successive All-Manchester Cup final. However, the manner of the win, and the shambolic performances at times this season, which see United down in 7th in the table and in danger of producing their worst finish since the Premier League was created, have increased the calls for Ten Hag to be sacked. The Manchester Evening News reported back in February that Ineos and new co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe were assessing Ten Hag's suitability, and that of other managers, to lead the club forward. A number of potential managers have been assessed, but with no obvious replacement yet for Ten Hag, the Dutchman could limp on to the end of the season. One manager linked with the job is France legend Zidane. He led Real Madrid to 3 Champions League triumphs, but is out of work and has been tipped to become Bayern Munich's new head coach, replacing Thomas Tuchel. Yorke, however, believes Ratcliffe should be speaking to Zidane to try and tempt him to Old Trafford. Asked by the men what he would ask Ratcliffe if he had one question, Yorke said, "The one question I'd want to ask Sir Jim Ratcliffe is, when are you going to employ Zinedine Zidane? I'd like to ask who he'd like as a manager. Zidane is an exceptional manager and has done it at one of the biggest clubs in the world. There aren't many elite managers out there, and not a lot of them are good enough to manage a club the size of Man United. Erik Ten Hag and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are good managers, but not good enough. Man United need that exceptional quality." However, Yorke, speaking on behalf of TV Sport Guide, believes Ten Hag could still have a future at Old Trafford, but only if he can lift the FA Cup against Pep Guardiola and Man City on May 25. It would represent a second trophy for the Dutchman, after the Carabao Cup win last season. For me, as a manager, if you come in and have a possibility of winning 2 trophies in 2 years, most managers would be happy and people would think they're doing a great job, Yorke added. Winning the FA Cup should save your job and give you more time. Football is a results business, so managers should keep their jobs if they deliver trophies. But Man United have not been good this season, competing for the top 6 in the league and being knocked out of the Champions League group stage is not great. If Erik Ten Hag won the FA Cup and makes it 2 trophies in 2 years, even with terrible football which is not the Man United way, I think it might just save his job. Zinedine Zidane almost certainly on Man United manager list. Manchester United will, almost certainly, have Zinedine Zidane on their managerial succession planning list at Old Trafford. Manchester United will, almost certainly, have Zinedine Zidane on their managerial succession planning list, as journalist Ben Jacobs evaluates how much that would impact his chances of being offered the job at Old Trafford. Current Red Devils boss Erik Ten Hag finds himself under pressure to succeed in the remaining weeks of the 2023-24 season, having endured a tumultuous campaign at the Theatre of Dreams. Man United have recently been subject of a minority takeover from Ineos, headed by chairman Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who will now have the final say on footballing decisions at the club. Zidane has been out of work since leaving Real Madrid in 2021, after 2 spells at the Santiago Bernabeu. Man United links to Zidane. According to L'Equipe, Zinedine Zidane would prefer a move to Manchester United over Bayern Munich during the summer, amid reports that the latter have identified him as a potential successor to Thomas Tuchel, who will step aside at the end of the 2023-24 season. The Frenchman has been linked with the Man United head coach role amid Erik Ten Hag facing pressure over his job. The 54-year-old has been unable to build on last term's foundations and is set to miss out on Champions League football, trailing Aston Villa, Tottenham Hotspur and Newcastle United in the race for a position in the Premier League's top 4. L'Equipe also claimed that a deal between Zidane and Bayern is close, but the 3-time Champions League winning manager holds reservations about taking the post. The 51-year-old, dubbed a tactical genius by Steve McManaman, appreciates that the Bundesliga giants will offer him the opportunity to win titles immediately, but is concerned about adapting to the language and life in Bavaria. He is said to be closely monitoring the situation at Man United. Ben Jacobs: Zidane could be part of a collection of names on Man United shortlist. Jacobs has indicated that being part of Manchester United's managerial succession planning list doesn't necessarily mean that the offer of a job is imminent. The journalist has also explained how England boss Gareth Southgate could find himself in the running for the post at Old Trafford. Jacobs told Give Me Sport. The Southgate links come from Dan Ashworth, who worked with Southgate at the FA. Zinedine Zidane will almost certainly be on the succession planning list. Being on the succession planning list doesn't necessarily mean you'll get any contact or get offered the job. It just means that you're part of a collection of names that are there to explore. Then, if a change is made, that list will be whittled down. Man United will consider Zidane to replace Ten Hag. In March, Jacobs admitted to Give Me Sport that he wouldn't be surprised if Zidane is at least considered for the Manchester United job if Erik Ten Hag is sacked at the end of the season. The ex-Real Madrid manager won 3 Champions League, 2 La Liga, and 2 Club World Cup titles across his 2 spells at the Bernabeu, cementing himself as one of the globe's highest-profile coaches. Jacobs has also suggested that former Chelsea boss Graham Potter and Sporting CP's Ruben Amorim could be among the names on any Man United shortlist, as the Red Devils consider life after Ten Hag. The 20-time champions hope to return to the pinnacle of English and European football and become a dominant force on the global stage once again. Sir Jim Ratcliffe can solve manager problem and deal Liverpool major blow with bold move. Manchester United could join the hunt for a new manager this summer and can strike a blow to their rivals with one specific appointment. Erik Ten Hag's days at Manchester United look numbered, and his tone-deaf press conference on Monday cast a man who can see the writing on the wall. Calling those who critiqued his surrendering of a 3-0 lead to a championship club unlikely to make the playoffs a disgrace, denotes him either oblivious or nervous. For me as a manager, 4 cup finals in 4 years, seems more like a CV statement than a reassuring message of unity for fans. Ten Hag has been included in pre-season planning and transfer discussions, but that does not indicate Sir Jim Ratcliffe's final decision on his future. The Manchester Evening News understands that the Ineos chief has had doubts over whether or not the Dutchman is the man for his long-term project. An undisclosed decision on Ten Hag is expected before the end of the season, out of necessity as much as for forward planning reasons. This summer will see a merry-go-round of managers, sparked by Jurgen Klopp's forthcoming exit from Liverpool and Thomas Tuchel's imminent Bayern Munich departure. If United also wish to change managers, they will have at least 2 European big hitters to contend with in their hunt for Ten Hag's successor, both of whom will be able to offer Champions League football. One name that has been bandied about, particularly in relation to the job at Anfield, is Sporting Lisbon boss Ruben Amorim. In 2021, he guided his club to the Portuguese title for the first time in 19 years and is on track for another crown this May. Amorim has stayed placid about his future beyond Sporting, but it will be surprising to still see him in Lisbon come August. West Ham were unexpectedly linked with the 39-year-old this week, but it seems those rumours have quickly grown cold. In fact, Portuguese outlet Record suggests that a move to both the Hammers or Liverpool, now targeting Feyenoord boss Arne Slot, looks unlikely.